The following program is a presentation of Milwaukee Public Television's Finding Work initiative.
Goodwill Industries of southeastern Wisconsin is proud to support MPTV and the Finding Work initiative.
It's hard work finding a job.
If you need help, turn to the Goodwill Workforce Connection Center. They can assist you with resume writing and interviewing skills, plus give you access to computers and job fairs.
Believe in the power of work.
Manpower Group is proud to support MPTV and the Finding Work initiative. To further explore the resources available at Manpower Group, visit manpowergroup.com.
You don't want to start networking the day you lose a job. It's got to be kind of an ongoing thing that you're doing all the time.
Looking for a job is like having a job, basically. So if you really want it, push for it.
Good evening and welcome to Jobs, the broadcast component for Milwaukee Public Television's Finding Work initiative. I'm Denise Calloway.
And I'm Mark Segrist. Each month, Jobs will offer profiles of Wisconsinites engaged in finding work. Some will have found employment, some will still be seeking, and some will be assisting people in their searches.
This month, we'll see how social media is changing job hunting, profile a minister who found a different way to help people, and meet a young woman who understands that finding work is a job unto itself.
But first, sometimes you don't fully appreciate what you have until you lose it. That's often true in today's job market. I recently spoke with a Milwaukee area man who has come to realize that staying at the top of your profession requires self-discipline as well as hard work and talent.
What's funny about a lot of, in order to separate the eggs, a lot of people just separate between their fingers.
Bernie Travalis is making something special for lunch at home in Muskego. I'm looking on with special interest. It isn't every day you get to watch an accomplished chef at work in his own kitchen. Bernie makes turkey schnitzel, fried potatoes, and asparagus with hollandaise sauce look easy.
Usually I have this prepared ahead of time, Again, it goes back to being ready, being prepared. So all you have to do is, fly, so to speak.
Chef Bernie has been cooking under pressure for most of his life. He first learned his restaurant skills as a teenager.
I worked in a salad department, dishwasher, and then I got my first experience. If I would clean the kitchen at night, the manager would teach me how to cook a steak.
Really?
Yeah, and that was the hardest part of the whole thing was cleaning that kitchen.
Ultimately, he worked his way up to leadership positions throughout the hospitality industry.
I really enjoyed working at the Playboy Club. It was a hell of an experience. It was very professional, very tight-knit group because you had 20, 30 people that were knocking on the door wanting to replace you.
But these days, Bernie Travalis is having trouble getting a job. During his successful career, Bernie was also making some poor choices. Ultimately, those mistakes caught up with him.
I put down that I'm a convicted felon for DWI. I don't give him how many or to that effect, which I'm not proud of the fact.
DWI, driving while under the influence.
Correct. Yes. Drinking, not drugs, but drinking.
6 drunken driving convictions led to 54 months in state prison. Since his release 2 years ago, Chef Bernie has sent out hundreds of resumes with little response and disappointing interviews.
And once I tell them that I'm a felon, you can see the expression on their face. It's like I kicked them in the kneecap, or kicked them in the shin, or slapped them on the side of the head. They react totally different. The interview comes to quite a halt very fast. I'm not angry at anybody. I'm not upset with anybody. More upset with myself, of course, being that stupid, because that's what it is. The bottom line is, you're just being an idiot.
In recent years, the hospitality industry has become a lot more concerned with the character of its workers, especially on the management level.
John Reese is a longtime chef instructor at Milwaukee Area Technical College. He says industry standards are high in part because the talent pool is well trained, and employers are choosing their workers very carefully.
I think there is a stigma when it comes to prison and people being in that. And I think it's tough, and because a lot of places now really are scrutinizing their employees before they hire them.
Even so, is there a potential role that someone like Chef Bernie can play, not only with his experience in the hospitality industry, but also the fact that he's so open about his past mistakes?
I think somebody like Bernie, who's got a lot of experience, and he's got a great resume because he's had so many different experiences, and he's got, it's not just experiences but accomplishments. He's accomplished an awful lot. I would hope that there would be a place for him, because he is the type of person that people can look to and say, look, you know, he overcame these difficulties, I can do that too.
Back in Muskego, Bernie Travalis is putting the finishing touches on lunch.
And there it is. There's a little tomato rose.
Very nice.
And you can just put that as a garnish in there. And if you have to fix it up a little bit, you can just put a knife in there a little bit. And there you go.
Well, that's a great touch.
He misses the challenge of his profession and the opportunity to put his experience into practice.
I can bring them consistency as far as a quality product, buying quality products, how to buy certain meats, the freshness of fish, the freshness of produce, bringing their, I pulled a lot of businesses that were in the red, pulled them back into the black, showed them how to make money, how to save money. A little bit of color for you. And then you can make a nice little bit of a brown sauce to go with the schnitzel.
In the meantime, Chef Bernie remains committed to his sobriety, volunteer work, and love of fine food.
Finding work is work. It takes a stick-to-it attitude and the ability to use all the resources available. Joanne Williams introduces us to a young woman who has used a community agency, the internet, and a staffing company to lead her to a job that she loves.
When Katrina McLean talks to her 3.5-year-old daughter Coriana about the future, she is enthusiastic.
I just want her to know that there's more to life than just, high school. After high school, there's so much more out there for her, and there's good careers out there for her, regardless of her age or whatever, because I'm very young for my age and I'm doing very good for myself. So I just want her to know that there's always more to life than just one step.
Even though Katrina has gone through stretches of unemployment, she keeps on searching for a way to move forward.
Since I turned 18, I was going to Juneau, and then from Juneau I started working at Walmart. I worked there for 5 years, and then I wanted to pursue going into school, so I started going to Bryan and Stratton. I went there for about 1.5 years, and that's when I was unemployed for a while, so I was just going to school basically, and I started looking for a job. That took me about 1 year.
She keeps a positive attitude and is learning how to work the system of job hunting.
Less is more. So if you put in the basic things on your resume, just letting them know about you, just the little things actually count, versus putting a paragraph about yourself.
If I were to read your resume, what would it say at the top?
Katrina, basically. No, but my resume basically has my objectives, which are I'm very goal-driven, so I want to actually give, and anything I do, I make sure I go the extra mile. So that's basically what my resume says.
It must have worked.
Yeah, it does.
What do you think you've learned from your job search? What advice can you give other people who are looking for work?
Looking for a job is like having a job, basically. So if you really want it, push for it. So, because I got up every day at about 8 o'clock when I take her to school, going to look for a job, and keep on doing this every day. So it became a routine. So when you make it a routine, if you fill out 100 applications, you'll get at least some calls back. If you are not doing nothing, then you won't get any calls back.
I would bet that, depending upon the skill set, you're going to get in excess of 50 to 100 applicants to one particular job posting.
Lee Yokman is an account manager at Aerotech, the temp service that found a job for Katrina.
How busy has it been, let's say, in the last 6 months?
Extremely. It's probably been the biggest 6 months since I've been here. But it's absolutely a great problem to have. To have that many qualified job seekers certainly makes our jobs a lot easier. And it's really a good situation. It's a good problem to have.
How long were you unemployed?
I was unemployed about a year and a half.
She got direction from the Social Development Commission, found Aerotech online, and things took off quickly after that.
From MilwaukeeJobs.com. So, and she called me back as soon as I actually submitted my resume, probably like maybe 15 minutes after I submitted my resume. She gave me a call back and I got an interview. She called me back and I had an interview 2 hours later. So, yeah, it worked out pretty nice.
Did you expect to get a job that quickly?
No, not at all. That was the first time I ever, had a job go that fast. So, yeah, it was pretty nice.
So do you like the place you work now?
Yes, I do.
What do you like about it?
That we're just like a family oriented. My supervisor is very, 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 how can I put it? She's very outgoing for her team. So I really like that, that we're just open and have a good communication between everyone. So that's something I like. Mm-hmm. I just like a setting where you feel comfortable.
What do you want to do?
My passion is I actually want to be a parole officer. I used to like doing hair, but my goal is actually to be a parole officer. I don't know why I don't know, probably because I got a strong personality, so I think I'll be able to actually help out in, the community to do so. So, I mean, parole officers have a good outlook on community.
What do you think your daughter's going to be when she grows up?
You want to come back and watch? She says she wants to be a doctor, so I guess that's what she likes being a lot of different things. So she's very upbeat and perky, so she can be anything pretty much.
Not too long ago, the only place to look for jobs was the classified ads. Now, thanks to job boards and company websites, most job openings are just a click away, but that's just the beginning. Social media now plays a huge role in how we communicate, network professionally, and look for jobs.
The last few years, job searching has taken on a whole new look and strategy. Now it's all about communicating your brand, your message, and networking with your connections. We spoke with 3 Milwaukee area social media experts, and they all agreed on one thing. In today's job market, using social media is a must. Jeff Kerrigan, who started Big Shoes Network, a job board for those in the marketing field, sees networking as a critical avenue for job seekers.
You don't want to start networking the day you lose a job. It's got to be kind of an ongoing thing that you're doing all the time.
I'm kind of a geek, and
Katie Felton knows her social media.
You might find a job on a job board, but then I would go and say, Google them, Google the company, Google the hiring person, where else are they? Go look at them on LinkedIn, find out more about them. See if they're on Twitter, see if anybody from that company is on Twitter. What are they talking about? Who are they? How can you position yourself to show that you're a culture fit?
Wayne Breitbarth owns M&M Office Interiors by day. By night, he's a nationally known LinkedIn expert and author.
Is the number one power on LinkedIn is that you can see connections with people that people have of relationships that exist and have always existed, but you just couldn't see them. So it's sort of like putting out X-ray glasses on. The person who actually wrote the check to LinkedIn and said, I want to put this job out there, I'm hoping to find an accounting specialist. I know her. She's at my first degree.
When I can go into LinkedIn, search your contacts or use the search function, and it turns out that, oh, you know the VP of sales or the VP or whatever of XYZ company, then I can come back to you and say, hey, how do you know this person?
And that's how you leverage the relationship with you, who should be a friend, to say, hey, such and such works at the company. You have a friend that works at the company that I just sent the resume in. You think you could give them a call?
Our profile really gets to be who defines us.
You know, a profile looks like what other document we use in business all the time. It's like a resume, right? I call it a resume on steroids. Profiles are meant to be so much richer because you actually, it's like sitting down and having a cup of coffee. It's, hey, have a cup of coffee with me. I'll tell you why I'm the person you want to hire.
Another key tip is making sure you have keywords in your profile to make it easy for employers to find you.
I've never had the opportunity to have a 100 million personnel resume database completely searchable by keywords. Think about that. Before there were job boards that we could all search into, but they were only people officially looking for jobs. Now, you and I have profiles on LinkedIn. Guess what? People are looking at us.
Twitter is also becoming a close personal friend of job seekers as well.
As Twitter has matured, you're seeing a lot, you know, it's much more business oriented. I mean, there's great information being shared on Twitter that relates, you know, to your industry. You know, survey results, you know, somebody just hired somebody just landed an account.
Twitter is a great tool to sort of engage in sending people to other things for them to look at about you. That could be your LinkedIn profile, that could be a website you have, it could be a blog that you have, it could even be a Facebook page.
Plus, you know, there are job feeds on there, there are, you know, recruiters on there that are looking for stuff as well. So I really think Twitter has matured in, and quite frankly, if you're going to be in the advertising, marketing, and PR industry, if you are not on Twitter, if you're not on Facebook, I mean, you're being left behind.
When it comes to social media, Facebook put the social in social media.
But with Facebook, you know, generally you know the people better. They're your friends, so why wouldn't they want to help you?
So, you know, one, certainly you got to be a little more cognizant that employers may be looking at your Facebook page. So if you know, have a picture of you, you know, chugging Jack Daniels into your underpants, it's, you know, probably a good thing to clean up.
Facebook is a tremendous site because of just the sheer volume of people and the fact that there are lots of groups out there that you can join. And there are fan pages for companies.
There are ways that you can, again, show people how you think and how you feel about certain things, and ultimately, you're trying to get connected to different people. I mean, all these different social mediums, it gives you another touch point with, again, industry peers or ultimately hiring decision makers.
There's an old saying when it comes to job seeking, it's not what you know, it's who you know. In today's challenging environment, getting to know people is not only easier than ever, but more critical.
And while we're on the subject of social media, MPTV and its community partners invite you to utilize the Finding Work website at www.findingwork.tv. It offers a variety of services and links to various agencies mentioned in this program. One of our newer services is legal advice regarding employment issues, and it's being provided free by the Milwaukee Bar Association. And we are now joined by Britt Wagner, Director, Lawyer Referral and Information Services of the Milwaukee Bar Association. Britt, thanks very much for being here with us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
We're glad you're here. We're glad to have you as a partner. Tell us a little bit about how the program works. An online visitor fills out a form, and what happens next?
Sure. Well, the Milwaukee Bar Association was very fortunate to team up with MPTV to create this great program. Basically, when they go to the website, there's a form that they fill out. It's very simple. It's absolutely free. There's just a few things that they put in, nothing personal. The email then goes to me with the brief description of their question, and I send it out to a panel of qualified employment law attorneys that specialize not only in just plaintiff side or employee side employment law, but specifically whether it be unemployment compensation or Family Medical Leave Act or wrongful termination. And we can even do so strictly as to if it was due to any sort of age discrimination or race. So we can narrow it down specifically to make sure that the person is getting their question answered specifically to their need. And then we get that answer back to them within 48 hours.
That's great. What kinds of questions can people ask?
People can really ask anything employment law related. And I definitely encourage people, if they have, if they're not wondering if it would quite fit in send it to us. We're very open to answering them. We're here to help with this. And since it is free, what do you have to lose? So I would encourage you, if you're wondering if you qualify for unemployment, or if you're wondering, what do I do about this severance package agreement, or my employer wants me to enter into a non-compete contract, is that standard? All of these questions would be more than acceptable.
How long do you plan to provide this service?
This really depends on the viewers and the people who participate. I would love for it to continue on indefinitely. I think that it's something that there's always going to be a need for. People are always going to have employment law questions, especially in our economic times. So as long as we can offer a service that's in demand, or there's a reason for it, and we can keep helping people out for free, I would like to keep it going as long as possible.
Tell us a little bit about another program and activity that you have coming up on Law Day on April 30th. What's that about?
Oh, definitely. It's actually another great free opportunity for the public. On April 30th from 10:30 to 2:30, people can walk into different locations across the city. There's one at Central Library, Center Street Library, Atkinson, and Bayview Library. There's no appointments. You just walk in. We'll have attorneys on staff. The Bayview Library, there will be Spanish-speaking attorneys working. You just walk in, sit down with the attorney, bring your questions, and speak with them for free.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much for offering that opportunity, and thanks so much for being our partner here on Finding Work.
My pleasure. Thank you.
It's often overlooked that being a man or woman of God is a job as well. Even a member of the clergy has to deal with changes in the workplace. That doesn't make it any easier. I know a Milwaukee area minister who spent his entire profession helping others face important transitions just like that, and he recently had the opportunity to practice what he preaches.
Scott Stoner is not your typical priest. He is grounded in the faith of the Episcopal Church.
The church communities can have such a powerful role in the life cycle, in the lives of people, because if you think about it, all the transitions in our lives are marked and celebrated in the context of a faith community.
Yet he feels called to strengthen families, even those not very religious, in a non-traditional way.
I mean, a lot of people have left the church in the last generation. A lot of the younger people have left the church, finding that it's not as relevant to them. But when you offer programs around where they live, about how to improve their own individual wellness, their couple wellness, their family wellness, it gets their attention. They have a hunger and a need for that.
Reverend Dr. Stoner has always balanced his professional life as both a cleric and psychotherapist. Several years ago, while serving as rector for a suburban Milwaukee parish, he had an epiphany.
Although he enjoyed his full-time work in parish ministry, something deep inside was pulling Scott Stoner in a different direction.
I didn't want to go back to counseling in the traditional way I've been doing it, treating one person, one couple, one family at a time. What I wanted to do was help create programs and partner with churches to expand what we had done at St. Christopher's to other churches, to help church communities recover their ministry of healing and wholeness to a world that is longing for that.
The decision to give up his pastorate in pursuit of a new, broad-based family ministry didn't come easily. Father Scott sought career advice from numerous people. His wife, Holly, a career educator, was a big help.
He's so passionate about families and marriages that it just seemed natural, actually. We didn't know how it was going to happen. That was the scary part. But the fact that he knew what he wanted to do, that wasn't scary.
Scott Stoner's vision became a reality in the spring of 2008 with this new office space at Bayshore Town Center.
This is what you've been
Welcome.
working towards for years.
Yeah, it is. This is where I do my counseling and consulting work.
That's when he became founding director of Samaritan Family Wellness Center.
So now we're coming into one of the main conference areas?
Right. This is our conference and educational center because really a lot of what we do here at the Samaritan Family Wellness Foundation is more upstream, preventative, proactive kind of education.
Despite his excitement, the first days on his new job were a bit stressful.
Now, as I recall, you literally left your pastorate one day and walked
on a Sunday,
on a transitional basis
I
to your
started
new
here on
role.
Monday. In retrospect, I might have taken a little time off in between. But that digital transition was really confusing and difficult, and I tell people that all the time. Just because I teach this stuff doesn't mean I don't also live it. Whenever we go through a significant life transition, which certainly a job change is, we have to be gentle with ourselves. We have to give ourselves some time to let go of the old and move into what's new.
But unfortunately, we don't allow ourselves, when we're making daily transitions like this, enough time to succeed. Our expectations are so high.
That's exactly right. Transitions are happening at a faster and faster rate in our culture, and people often just don't have time to process them, to internalize them. But we need that time to slow down and pay attention, to integrate the changes, to check in with how we're really doing as we're working through those, so that we can make some proactive choices through those transitions.
Samaritan Family Wellness Center offers a range of psychotherapy services. From workshops to private sessions, families are equipped with the skills necessary to better cope with the challenges of daily life.
Remember the story of the Good Samaritan, is he's the person that stops and helps the person who's beat up on the side of the road. Today, families and couples are beat up on the side of the road, and someone needs to stop and help them. And so that's what we're doing. And people are, I don't care whether you're Democrat, Republican, city, suburb, you are concerned about the family. And so people are generous in their support of our mission and of our ministry.
And you purposely has
grateful.
built a broad base, a breadth of underwriting support
Exactly.
for what you do.
After earning her license in marriage and family therapy, Holly Hughes Stoner made a career transition of her own. She's now joined her husband in a practice where the need is great. Samaritan Family Wellness has grown to a national outreach effort.
Everybody seems to be really stretched. Financially, they seem to be stretched with money, I guess, stretched with time, stressed with commitments, and that stress starts building up, and then families start arguing with each other.
And how are you helping make it better for them?
Well, I try to help them see themselves as a team, that they can work together at this. They need to set priorities about what's important, and not to turn on each other.
This has to do with the developing of our website, because we're putting a lot of good information on our Living Compass website.
Reverend Dr. Stoner still regards his new work as an extension of his priesthood. He thinks he made the right decision when an inner voice was pushing him in a different direction. And he encourages others to be mindful of similar whispers in their lives as well.
The inner voice is often where we hear God, and that's why I say it's a whisper. That's why we have to slow down and be still and listen to that.
And before we close tonight, some good news. You may remember Esther and Cole Elam from the YWCA's New Hope Project that we profiled last month. We're happy to report that she has found a job with the Life Skills Academy at MPS.
And that's our program for this month. Now remember, the Finding Work website is at www.findingwork.tv.
We hope you will join us again on August 24th at 9 p.m. for the next edition of Jobs. Until then, thanks for watching and good night.
Goodwill Industries of southeastern Wisconsin is proud to support MPTV and the Finding Work Initiative.
It's hard work finding a job.
If you need help, turn to the Goodwill Workforce Connection Center. They can assist you with resume writing and interviewing skills, plus give you access to computers and job fairs.
Believe in the power of work.
Manpower Group is proud to support MPTV and the Finding Work Initiative. To further explore the resources available at Manpower Group, visit manpowergroup.com.